T.I. is facing one of the toughest moments of his career. Atlanta women are not holding back, and some of them are reportedly ready to leak exclusive footage that could put him in serious legal trouble. Coupled with his ongoing feud with 50 Cent, these accusations could drag him into court and even threaten jail time. The stakes have never been higher, and the internet is buzzing with every new development. Here's how Atlanta women just destroyed T.I.'s career and why 50 Cent is now in the middle of it all. On March 9th, 2026, a clip from T.I. started circulating on social media. In the clip, T.I. says women in Atlanta aren't as progressive as they used to be and are very difficult to deal with. He went further. He said he met a girl that day, and she was already asking him to pay her bills. The clip was posted by My Mixtapez on X, and it spread fast. Now, the first thing people noticed was how T.I. was speaking. Multiple people pointed out that this is a single man's conversation and that he shouldn't have any first-hand experience about women in Atlanta or anywhere today because T.I. is married. He's been married to Tamika Tiny Harris since 2010. A 3-time Grammy winner, T.I. married Tiny in 2010. They have children together. They have a reality show. And here he is talking about meeting women and them asking him to pay their bills. That question, why is he answering this like he's single, is the question that set the internet on fire. Comment after comment asked, why is he answering this like he's single? Some people tried to defend T.I. by saying he was speaking hypothetically or making a general observation about dating culture. Others speculated that he has an open marriage and that he has sons who are out dating and he could be talking in general, but most likely he has an open marriage. Still, the damage was done. Here's the thing. T.I. was not just talking about one woman. He was making a statement about all women in Atlanta. He said they are not progressive. He said they are difficult. And he said the first thing they do is ask for money. Now, if you know anything about Atlanta, you know that city has one of the strongest communities of black women in the country. You have women running businesses. You have women running newsrooms. You have women in law, in tech, in entertainment. Atlanta has the Atlanta Women's Foundation, which runs programs to support women across the metro area. This is not a city where women sit around asking men for bill money, but T.I. made a blanket statement, and the women of Atlanta and their supporters responded. Comments on social media ranged from disappointment to outright anger. People noted that T.I. was being disrespectful not just to random women, but to his own wife. Some pointed out that this is part of the reason why 50 Cent felt like he could come at Tiny, because her own husband doesn't respect her in public or in private. The timing of this clip could not have been worse. T.I. was already in the middle of one of the most talked about rap beefs of 2026, his ongoing war with 50 Cent. And the reason 50 Cent was able to do damage to T.I. in the first place was by targeting one specific woman, Tiny. So when T.I. turned around and started talking about women in Atlanta being difficult, people connected the dots. If you don't respect the women around you, how can you expect anyone else to? The reaction on forums and social media was unified on one point. T.I. had no business talking about what women in the dating scene are doing when he is supposedly married. Some commenters said people were too focused on Tip's marital status and that he was telling the truth, noting that a lot of women are digital panhandlers who demand allowances while having empty bank accounts. But even those people had a caveat. They acknowledged T.I. was the wrong messenger for the message. The broader conversation was about the disconnect between T.I.'s public image and his private behavior. For years, T.I. and Tiny presented themselves as a power couple. They had the VH1 reality show. They had the blended family. They had the image of two people from the streets who made it work. But T.I.'s comments about meeting women and being asked to pay bills punched a hole in that image. And it happened right at the moment he was trying to fight off 50 Cent. People said Atlanta seems to be consumed with stripper and transactional dating culture. But even with that sentiment, the backlash against T.I. was about something deeper. It was about a man who has been accused of doing far worse to women than just complaining about them. A man who was now publicly reducing the women of his own city to gold diggers. To understand why T.I.'s comments about women hit so hard, you need to understand what 50 Cent had been doing to T.I. for weeks before the clip dropped. The foundation of the feud was laid during the COVID-19 pandemic, when T.I. repeatedly called out 50 for a versus battle, but the G-Unit mogul didn't pay Tip much attention and scoffed at his requests. The spark that lit the flame in 2026 happened during Super Bowl weekend. T.I. and 50 Cent's feud was reignited during Super Bowl weekend when Tip called out 50 for ducking him in a versus battle while talking to Nightcap, and then again a few weeks later during an interview with $1 Million worth of Game. T.I. kept saying 50 was ducking smoke. He kept saying he wanted the battle, and 50 kept ignoring him. Then 50 stopped ignoring him. T.I. and 50 Cent's feud was reignited earlier in February after Tip voiced his confidence in taking 50 out in a potential versus battle. 50 didn't want anything to do with a versus. which led 50 to slam Tip and call him King Rat in an Instagram comment. That King Rat comment was a reference to T.I.'s past legal issues and cooperation with law enforcement. T.I. fired back. He posted on social media saying he has his own paperwork and his transcripts are available online. He told 50 to get in the box or shut up. That's when things went from rap beef to personal destruction. The floodgates opened when 50 went beyond T.I. and began taking shots at family members, like Tip's wife, Tiny Harris, and his son, King Harris. 50 posted a photo of Tiny on social media. It was not a flattering photo. 50 Cent posted an unflattering photo of Tamika Tiny Harris on social media during his ongoing feud with her husband, T.I. He captioned it with a remark telling T.I. to keep his name out of his mouth, which many people saw as mocking or disrespectful toward Tiny. Then 50 went after King Harris, comparing his son, King Harris, to the Pepe the Frog meme. That's when the entire Harris family went to war. T.I. responded in the comments. King Harris responded on his Instagram stories. An enraged King Harris delivered a fiery rant on his IG stories, attacking 50 in defense of his mother, mocking 50's late mother. T.I. took it to the studio. In the span of less than a week, T.I. peppered 50 Cent with a handful of diss tracks, and doesn't appear to be done with 50 just yet, as he's parlayed the momentum into the rollout of his upcoming and final album, Kill the King. He dropped War. He dropped The Right One. He dropped Lessons. He dropped What Bully. T.I. dropped numerous pointed diss tracks at 50, with 2 new additions, Lessons and What Bully. In those tracks, Tip harps on 50's tendencies of being a bully on social media, but not wanting any smoke with him, and accuses 50 of physically assaulting women in the past. That accusation about 50 and women was a direct shot, because 50 has his own history of allegations. But the problem for T.I. was that 50 knew exactly how to fight back without ever getting in the booth. 50 ultimately retreated and moved on from mocking T.I. and scrubbed his social media of all posts tied to the Harris family. He deleted the photos. He deleted the memes. But the damage was done. The photos of Tiny had been seen by millions. The memes of King had been screenshotted and shared. And 50 had planted a seed that would continue to grow, especially when T.I. opened his mouth about Atlanta women being difficult. See, the reason 50 was able to hurt T.I. by posting pictures of Tiny is because it exposed a vulnerability. It showed that T.I.'s family could be targeted and it would get under his skin. And when T.I. then went on a podcast and talked about women in Atlanta being difficult and wanting their bills paid, it looked like he was confirming what 50 had implied, that he didn't hold Tiny in the highest regard. The internet made that connection in real time, and it was women in Atlanta who were the loudest about it. Now here's where this story takes a turn. Because T.I.'s relationship with women in Atlanta isn't just about podcast comments and dating culture debates. There is a history, and that history involves serious allegations. A dozen women came forward to accuse the rapper T.I. and his wife of sexual assault and misconduct, with some allegations stretching back more than a decade. This is not new. This first became public in 2021, when a former friend of the Harris family named Sabrina Peterson made allegations on social media. Sabrina Peterson, a former friend of the Harris family, first accused the couple of sexual assault, and when Sabrina posted her side of the story on social media, claiming that T.I. had even pulled a gun to her head, Tiny came to T.I.'s defense. After Sabrina's posts, more women started coming forward. Attorney Tyrone A. Blackburn says he has been contacted by more than 30 women, survivors, and witnesses regarding claims against the couple. The allegations were severe. Blackburn said in a press release, there are allegations of forced drugging, kidnapping, rape, and intimidation in at least 2 states. A lawyer representing nearly a dozen people called for a sexual abuse investigation against T.I. and his wife Tiny. In a letter sent to state and federal authorities in Georgia and California, Blackburn alleged sexual abuse, forced ingestion of illegal narcotics, kidnapping, terroristic threats, and false imprisonment, spanning from 2005 to 2018. The pattern described in the allegations was consistent. Women said they were approached by Tiny, given drinks that were spiked, and then brought to hotel rooms. One woman said she was in a ladies' bathroom at an airport in Las Vegas when she was approached by Tiny, who asked her to hang out with her and her husband that night. She agreed and met the couple in a hotel room at the Venetian Resort, where she was given a shot of Patron by Tiny. After the shot, she began to feel dizzy and confused. The Los Angeles Police Department began an investigation into sexual assault allegations against the couple in 2021, but declined to bring charges due to the statute of limitations. Las Vegas police also received a report of a sexual assault incident in 2010 involving the couple. That case was also closed because it was reported outside the statute of limitations. It's important to note that T.I. and Tiny have denied all of these allegations. The couple's lawyer, Steve Sato, said, Clifford, T.I., and Tamika Harris deny in the strongest possible terms these unsubstantiated and baseless allegations. We are confident that if these claims are thoroughly and fairly investigated, no charges will be forthcoming. While these claims remain unfounded in courts of law, the 2024 civil lawsuit did see a dismissal. No criminal charges were ever filed against T.I. or Tiny for any of these allegations. The cases that were investigated were closed due to statutes of limitations. Not because prosecutors made a determination about the merits of the claims, but here's the thing. The allegations never went away in the court of public opinion. Every time T.I.'s name comes up, these allegations come up. And when 50 Cent started beefing with T.I. in 2026, the allegations became a weapon. Comedian Tasha K suggested that after the ongoing beef, the Candy Shop rapper has turned to his TV talents. And with the success of the rapper's previous Netflix documentary, it wouldn't be out of character for 50 to turn to a documentary to expose the couple. According to Tasha K, she took to Twitter claiming that she spoke to alleged sources, reportedly connected to the G-Unit Moguls team, and alleged that he's working on a documentary about the Georgia couple and their alleged drugging and assault accusations. This doesn't have any official confirmation from either side or credible backups to this allegation, but the rumor alone was enough to rattle things. It's important to note Tasha K's past trouble with online claims. She lost a defamation suit from Cardi B, so the source of the documentary claim is not exactly bulletproof. But the idea of 50 Cent producing a documentary about T.I. and Tiny's allegations is something that people took seriously because of what 50 did with the Diddy documentary. He got a lot of flack for executive producing the Diddy docuseries Sean Combs' The Reckoning on Netflix. If 50 decided to turn his attention to T.I. and Tiny in documentary form, the allegations from those women would be front and center. And that is why T.I.'s comments about women in Atlanta being difficult landed the way they did. It wasn't just a bad take about dating culture. It was a man with unresolved allegations from women now criticizing the women of his own city. The optics were devastating, because at the same time all of this drama is happening, T.I. is in the middle of something that looks like a career revival. Let 'Em Know is one of the early hits of 2026. The song, part of T.I.'s retirement album Kill the King, is currently #1 at Urban Radio and on several charts. T.I. is back in the Billboard Hot 100's top 40 for the first time in more than a decade, with Let 'Em Know, which reached a new peak of number 38 on the March 7 dated chart. That's a real accomplishment. T.I. hadn't been on the Hot 100 in a meaningful way in over 10 years, and now he's back. Look for his final Kill the King album to arrive sometime in April. The beef with 50 Cent actually helped T.I.'s music numbers. The diss tracks generated attention. The drama generated clicks. People who hadn't thought about T.I. in years were now paying attention to what he was doing. During a sit-down with the Ibro Laura Rosenberg show, the Atlanta rapper reiterated that he didn't need a beef with 50 to boost awareness for his hit single, Let 'Em Know. Cutting his dreadlocks and returning to his classic fade did all that. T.I. was also making the rounds at industry events. T.I. attended the 57th NAACP Image Awards official BET dinner at Grand Venue on February 27, 2026 in Los Angeles. He was visible. He was active. He was doing press. The Kill the King album rollout was in full swing. But then the Atlanta women comments happened, and suddenly the narrative shifted. Instead of talking about T.I.'s comeback, people were talking about T.I.'s views on women. Instead of discussing his chart success, people were discussing his marriage. Instead of celebrating a rapper returning to form for his final album, people were questioning why a married man was talking about women he's meeting asking to pay their bills. T.I. tried to address the 50 Cent situation with maturity in interviews. He said, "Man, that Samaj so last week, man. The only thing I have to say, it's very unfortunate, but honestly, I wasn't here to defeat, I was here to defend." He continued, "I'm just happy that the women and children in my family know that there's a line of men that's ready to stand and protect from whoever, against whoever." He also addressed his son King's involvement in the beef. The trap pioneer admitted that he felt things went too far. When King Harris posted a photo of himself wearing a Rick Ross-approved t-shirt featuring 50's late mother, he said, "I said that's enough when I seen that damn t-shirt. I said this is enough. I said, chill out, bro." "No, I don't enjoy it," said T.I., in response to a question about if his kids' responses were enjoyable. "I spent so much time trying to get this Lil Nas off the ledge. Now he has justifiable means to undo all of the teaching that I've been teaching." That statement revealed something. T.I. knows that his son King has tendencies that he's been trying to rein in. He knows that the beef gave King an outlet to do things T.I. didn't want him doing. And the part about justifiable means to undo all of the teaching tells you that T.I. understands the ripple effects of this beef go beyond Instagram. But then, in nearly the same breath, in the same period of doing press and interviews, T.I. turned around and made the comments about Atlanta women. He didn't seem to realize that the same women he was calling difficult were the same demographic that had been supporting his wife through all the 50 Cent trolling. He didn't seem to realize that the same women he said weren't progressive were the ones who had been defending the Harris family name online. The career momentum that T.I. had built through Let 'Em Know and the diss tracks was now being weighed against his own words. And the women of Atlanta, who felt they were being disrespected by a man from their own city, were not going to let it slide. So did Atlanta women destroy T.I.'s career with 50 Cent? Let's look at what actually happened. T.I. challenged 50 Cent to a versus. 50 declined and started trolling T.I. and his family online. 50 Cent and T.I. have been going at it in an online feud where T.I.'s wife, Tiny Harris, has been dragged into it. T.I. responded with diss tracks. His sons responded with diss tracks. The beef generated headlines and helped T.I.'s music numbers. Then T.I. made comments about women in Atlanta not being progressive and asking men to pay their bills. The internet connected those comments to the fact that T.I. is married, to the fact that 50 Cent had targeted Tiny specifically, and to the history of allegations from women against T.I. and Tiny. 50 appears to allude to the sexual assault allegations made against Tip and Tiny while speaking to their children. That's the weapon 50 was always holding. He never had to drop a diss track. He never had to get in the booth. He just had to point at the things that already existed in T.I.'s history and let the internet do the rest. 50 himself has yet to make any insults on wax, and it doesn't seem like he plans to do so in the future. At the end of February, 50 Cent took a break from memes about the Harris family to highlight his TV achievements on Instagram. That tells you everything about how 50 approached this. He treated T.I. like a side project. He trolled, he moved on, and he let T.I. keep doing damage to himself. And T.I. did do damage to himself. The Atlanta women comments took a beef that was already messy and made it messier. T.I. was fighting a war on two fronts, one against 50 Cent, who was trolling his family, and one against the public perception that he doesn't respect women. And the second front was the one he opened himself. Now, has T.I.'s career been destroyed? That depends on how you define career. His music is doing well. Kill the King is his retirement album, and Let 'Em Know is currently #1 at Urban Radio and on several charts. He's got a final album coming out. He's charting on Billboard for the first time in over a decade. On paper, T.I.'s career is having a moment, but reputation is a part of career, and T.I.'s reputation has taken hit after hit. The sexual assault allegations from women, denied, investigated, and closed without charges, but never forgotten. The 50 Cent beef that put Tiny's face on blast for the world to mock. And now, his own words about women in Atlanta being difficult and wanting bill money. The women of Atlanta didn't destroy T.I.'s career in the traditional sense. They didn't get his music pulled from platforms. They didn't get his album canceled. But they shined a light on a pattern. And that pattern is one where T.I. consistently puts himself in positions where women are the collateral damage. Whether it's the women who made allegations against him, or his own wife being trolled online, or the women of Atlanta being called difficult. The common thread is women being disrespected. And 50 Cent, he just watched. He posted his memes, he made his references, and he let T.I. step on his own message. Though both MCs certainly have more powerful beefs with other rappers, the New York icon and the Atlanta star seem to now have genuine disdain for one another. But only one of them came out of this beef worse for wear, and it wasn't 50. The reality is, T.I. gave his critics everything they needed. He gave 50 ammunition by responding emotionally. He gave the women of Atlanta a reason to turn on him by dismissing them publicly. And he gave the internet a reason to revisit every allegation, every scandal, and every misstep in his history. It's like when he was commenting on Deja's virginity. That was another moment where T.I.'s relationship with women, in that case his own daughter, became a national conversation for all the wrong reasons. There's a pattern of T.I. saying or doing things related to women that generate backlash, and each time it chips away at his public standing. At the end of the day, T.I. is a man with a lot of talent. He is a pioneer of trap music. He has hit records. He has cultural significance. But he keeps creating situations where his name becomes associated with controversy involving women. And in 2026, when the world is paying more attention to how men treat women than ever before, that's a career problem. The women of Atlanta didn't need to organize a boycott. They didn't need to start a petition. They just needed T.I. to keep talking. And he did. And 50 Cent just sat back and watched the man from the South do more damage to himself than any diss track could ever do. That's the story. T.I. went to war with 50 Cent and ended up at war with the women of his own city. And both wars are going to follow him long after Kill the King drops.